Hey everyone, Badass Body Workers. Today our guest is Priscilla Fleming, and we're gonna talk about some really eerie stuff today. How to change it to this background, because the topic we're gonna get into, all body workers, all massage therapists, inevitably at some point in their career, I've either come across this, heard hearsay, whatever. Like, it's the whole happy ending thing. We're gonna dive right into it. This is actually gonna be a series. We are going to be breaking down the gaslighting, grooming tactics, verbiage in real life. We have screenshots that real life massage therapists.
But things that our colleagues are going through on a regular basis.
So we really want to educate people. We want to educate massage therapists on how to navigate these sticky situations. We want to encourage women to not be people pleasers and to trust their intuition. Stop giving people who don't deserve it. Stop giving predators benefit of the doubt.
We don't owe anybody the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, and we want to help y'all recognize this, because we don't really think about it right until we're in massage school, or somebody makes a comment to us, or we're caught off guard. So during the series, we're going to be talking stuff that, the fight or flight response, these grooming tactics,
which is also a valid response.
Oh yeah, we might have some stories thrown in there. We kind of don't quite know what to expect yet, but we do want to bring some awareness around this topic to our colleagues and fellow body workers. But at the same time, anybody in the general public who may be coming across this video, this is not funny. This is some serious stuff. This has so many deeper layers beyond, just making what you consider to be a benign surface level joke. And it's not funny. It's disrespectful amongst many things.
It can also be dangerous for us long term. We deserve to feel safe at work without being harassed or solicited or offended.
Yes, and diving into that, Priscilla, let's do a little intro for you. I've known you for years online, but for people who maybe haven't come across your content yet, or had the pleasure of chatting with you.
Hi. So I'm Priscilla. I am a neuromuscular massage therapist, but I teach a ethics and safety course on grooming, gaslighting, and power dynamics within the therapeutic relationship. The goal of my content and the classes that I provide are so we have the ability to recognize red flags and problematic clients before they come into our space, so we can prevent dangerous situations from happening in the first place. And then also being able to confidently end a session or confidently terminate a client that just generally makes us uncomfortable.
When we come across these situations, like, the fuck are we going to do? Like, what do we even text back? Do we go to the police? Do we just block and move on? Like, there's so many different things. There's really like no right or wrong. But one thing I will say before we dive into all this is that I personally, as a woman, I do not like to enable bad behavior, shit behavior. I don't feel like I need to train men, all these women that are trying to like train them and educate them. I might go into that as well, because there was a great post in our group, like, the mother wound in you, please, oh my gosh, you don't need to be training these people. They know how to use Google to find somebody to whack them off.
So just feel, as a baseline, we live in a civilized society, and we are taught early in life, in grade school, as children, as toddlers, how we are supposed to act according to that social contract. So when a client comes in being inappropriate or rude or disrespectful or soliciting, they know what they're doing. So if we just say, I can no longer be the therapist for you, or you make me uncomfortable, we don't owe them an explanation. They either understand what they did because they understand the social construct, or they don't, and nothing you say is going to make it click for them. So just save your own emotional well-being.
And if you're really confused, you can just tap into your inner knowing, because your intuition doesn't lie, and you can feel it in your stomach as well. So there is definitely a difference between intuition and paranoia, for sure. That's like a whole other podcast episode. But let's get into some of these real life examples. So actually, no, before we jump into those, I thought it would be fun to react to a couple of videos that our colleagues have made in the past, and they are very eloquent, very well spoken. One of them is extremely Southern. She no longer practices massage anymore, but she's been a good friend to the community for a while. So we're going to go over hers and just do this as an intro. So let me make sure I'm sharing my screen correctly. Bear with me. I'm still learning this new technology.
While you're looking for that, I did want to just touch base on the listening to your gut. So on like a nerdy science level, it's our nervous system pattern recognition and threat assessing, and it's flagging something. It's the, hey, this something is not right based off of that, and it's sending that signal to our gut, which is why we have that gut feeling. So it's our brain kind of letting us know you should be more aware of your surroundings in this situation because this doesn't feel right. So take what you will.
So this is Savannah Belmore. She is a sweet Southern belle, lives in Tennessee. She used to own my massage world. Whenever she decided to get out of the industry, I actually acquired a lot of her content and stuff, but we've always had the same community, a lot of the same viewpoints and stuff. She was able to really put together some really amazing videos that she was generous enough to leave up online whenever she retired from massage. So shout out to Savannah. She was definitely a huge impact in the community, but this is her take on how to stop inappropriate massage requests. So yeah, what to do for the dreaded happy ending request. Let's go.
It's an unfortunate and inevitable part of this industry. The dreaded happy ending requests, the what's your draping policy, or I'm really hot, can I take the sheet off nonsense. As much as we
that's red flag number one. Just feel free to say red flag because
Yes, the drape negotiations is one of my biggest red flags.
we're not even 10 seconds in and it's already like red flag city.
might not like it as professionals, our industry is deeply linked with the sex industry. Massage has been used as a cover for prostitution for who knows how long. And while it can be frustrating to have someone make such a request, even violating depending on how the situation plays out, there are things you can do that can help prevent it from even happening in the first place and stop it in its tracks if it does get to that point.
Yes, and this is what Priscilla was talking about earlier, is doing the damage control ahead of time. Like we might not be able to filter out 100%, but we can definitely be as prepared as possible for when these things happen and have sort of like a game plan of what to do afterwards.
Yeah, because when we're stuck in that fight, flight, or freeze, it's a little easier. I'm not saying it's easy. It's a little easier to navigate when we can default to a process that we already have in place. And then it's even easier when we're being proactive to weed all these creeps out before they're in front of us and we're alone in a dark, private, secluded treatment space with them.
And we'll get into, other environments and factors and stuff too.
So let's discuss. Hey guys, Savannah Bell here with My Massage World, where I give business advice and tips for the real world. So here are some tips to prevent and stop these types of situations. And before I dive in, let me just say I am going to be referring to male clients being inappropriate throughout this, but I know that some female clients can be just as bad. So this stuff still applies regardless. And I know I'm just going to end up saying it's men throughout this video, even though I have had my fair share of both to contend with over the years. So let's just get into it.
Yes.
Number one, online booking needs some extra steps. I know there are lots of you out there who absolutely love online booking. And heck yeah, it does save you a ton of time and all of that. I know. But be sure that you have some extra identifying steps, screening protocols, or anything else that can allow you to know who's coming in and make it clear what's expected. Most online booking software has the capability that only returning clients can book online, or that their booking is merely a request to book, not a guarantee of an appointment, because you have follow-up screening steps in place. Like, you may require a phone call to go over their issues and figure out exactly what type of work they need.
This is something that I say that I hardly see anybody else say when shit like this comes up, is why are you not hearing the tone of voice? Call them, because trust me, they're not gonna call you. They're not gonna call you. And if they do, you can definitely weed them out very quickly with tone of voice and intention. You can hear it. Stop entertaining these fucking fools and teaching them what people will respond to, because they just keep getting better and better. We're actually helping them refine their skills whenever we
I know for me, I would rather quit the industry than make that many phone calls.
Well, hopefully we're not getting that many.
So for my screening, when in my private practice, I required all intake forms be completed prior to accepting. So all appointments were a request. They would fill out their intake forms, and then I would have all my screening questions in there. And then from there, if any of those screening questions had a red flag, then I would call if I have to. But more often than not, I would just cancel it, because I feel like if it's a red flag, I don't want to deal with whatever that is in my my personal space.
And usually asking for a credit card number will weed out most of that.
Yes, and I know some mobile therapists would require them to upload a driver's license or an ID, and that weeds out a lot of creeps.
Yeah, I'll have to link the podcast episode in the comments or description below, but I did a podcast episode about how to stay safe as a mobile therapist with another colleague of ours, Mariah, and that was pretty good as well. So yeah, there's just so many nuances when it comes to this topic of being safe as a body worker, but we'll let Savannah continue on.
The guys who are looking for illegitimate stuff, they don't usually want to leave that kind of information behind. So be sure.
Oh God, you'd be surprised. I don't know, you'd be surprised. Like, I learned also, for whoever's listening, you can look up phone numbers in Cash App and Venmo, and a lot of times their username and their like real name and stuff will pop up. It's wild.
That's great.
Yeah, I haven't done the search. Usually if I need to find somebody, I'll just post in a local women's Facebook group, because somebody has an account to look up people, and they like Nancy Drewing. So, if you need to look somebody up, trust me, somebody probably has access to find info if you do.
And then just all the hoops, the screening questions, the intake forms, the credit card on file, having all this paper trail. Typically a solicitor, they're looking for convenience more than anything. So when they have to jump through hoop after hoop, it can weed out a lot of them.
Well, here's another one. Literally right before we got on this call, I had just massaged another one of our colleagues from Badass Body Workers for her birthday. And yeah, she teaches cupping too, Sonia. She's amazing. But I looked at my phone and I got a text that said, "Hi, are you available?" I don't know why I entertained it, but basically, like, "I'm sorry I didn't catch your name, who referred you, and what service are you looking for?" And he's like, "Today." Like, really short answers, like immediate like gratification right now.
Yeah, I block all of those. If they don't have any context in their text message, then we're good. I'm good, you're good.
Just basic professional courtesy to have context, whenever you're reaching out to somebody, because we're gonna think that like things are AI now,
That's true.
You have those extra steps, those screening protocols in place to help deter and stop those guys in their tracks before they ever even make it onto the table. Just remember not to make things too crazy so that your average clients are put off by all the stuff they have to do just to get an appointment with you. There is a middle ground here. Number 2, screen your clients. And this isn't as simple as just talking to them on the phone to verify the appointment or something. Really take the time to create a system around this. How exactly are you going to make sure that you cut those people off before they ever come into your establishment? When you talk with them on the phone or have a questionnaire for them to fill out online, get detailed about what problems they're having, what they expect to get out of them.
Yeah, people looking for illicit services are definitely not gonna, they ain't looking for a treatment plan.
No, questions that I always ask, and I go over this in my class, the 3 questions that I want to know from every client that is booking is how they found me, where they came across my information, what they were searching, did they find it off of like an illicit website like we were speaking about with rub maps, were they looking up tantric or neuro or those other flagged words, or were they legitimately looking for what I specialize in, which is pain management and posture? How did they find me? And then what are their goals? Are they dealing with pain? Do they have a self-care regimen? What are they doing? These are things that I want to know before they even come into my treatment space. What's going on? What are their goals? And how did they find me?
Yes, and I honestly don't blame a lot of our colleagues for wanting to have women-only practices.
Yeah, I don't blame them either.
So is asking as many questions as possible to allow for reduce your chances. Number 3, check your branding, your photos, your marketing materials, all that stuff. Oftentimes, there are cues in your marketing that you may not even consider to be inappropriate, but may give the impression that you offer more than just massage therapy. This is especially true if you're getting an unusually high amount of these types of requests. For example, these super cheesy stock photos that are plastered all over the storefront windows of those places, especially of feet. Yeah, there's photos like that.
Also, right, and it's okay to have like one bikini pic maybe, but personally, I think, I mean, oh my God, y'all use filters. And I don't mean like Instagram filters. I mean, like, if you're friends with some of your clients on social, which I am, I'm friends with a lot of my clients, they are on a list where they can't see certain things that I post. Not that I, I mean, I honestly don't care what they see because I'm not posting crazy shit. Besides the Epstein files, but that's a whole other, that's next week's episode, okay? That's next week's episode.
Yeah. That's why I have two separate. I have my personal one where I am just kind of feral and I can do whatever I want to do on it. And then I have my professional one, which is more like just what I'm going on in the massage world. It's educational. I can talk to my clients and we can be there so they don't see.
Yeah, we have to,
private.
we totally have to compartmentalize and make sure that we're thinking from our client's point of view. They might like look us up. If I'm looking up a hairstylist, I want to see the work she's done and, what she looks like, and how her hair looks and stuff. Like, inevitably, you're probably going to be looked up. But yeah, if you're wanting if clients come across you on social media, are 99% of your photos like bikinis and lingerie and cleavage, that's cool. I have a lot of those in my personal profile, that are hidden or whatever.
Yeah, that's no reason to be solicited or harassed, of course. And then when she mentioned the stock photos, a lot of them are like, hi. There's no face cradle. It's like over the shoulder candles. It's just creepy.
The stones down the back, the roses.
Realistic stock photos, or have your own done.
Yes.
We offer some beautiful and realistic stock photos, more offered there than massage.
Okay, I'm skipping through some of it because I've also seen this video and I'm trying to make sure we get to the juicy bits because we have a lot to cover. Stock photos, I'm the one who acquired them, so you can contact me for those. If you need real people getting real services instead of like rose petals on the table and hot stones down the back and a face full of makeup and a hibiscus in your hair.
Yeah, especially because like you mentioned, clients want to know us. They want to make sure that we align with what they align with. And then if you can show your work in real time on real clients, that's even better, especially because we're in such an intimate industry that we want clients to feel comfortable. And if they can visualize the work that you're doing, it helps with that little power dynamic a little more, brings it closer together.
Yeah, and we'll definitely be jumping into power dynamics as well because man, you had some juicy stuff in your workbook, and I was like, man, this needs your stuff. And we'll put the QR code on the screen again soon, but Priscilla's workbooks needs to be in every single massage school in the nation.
Thank you.
I am very like adamant about that. I scream at people. I screamed at my admin. I yelled at her to get your workbooks for her new school that she's opening.
When I was teaching massage school, I got made fun of relentlessly for how passionate about ethics I am, but I can't help it. I just love it. Power dynamics specifically, I just love it so much because it's so nuanced and it means different things to different people, but there still is that professional standard that needs to be met, and it's just such an important conversation.
Yes, and boundaries. We'll get through Savannah's.
And this brings me to number 4. Check how you carry yourself. There's a few things I mean in this. If you're the meek, soft-spoken, and in no way assertive type, you're unfortunately more likely to be faced with these kinds of situations. Sorry, but these guys don't use...
What Savannah doesn't say is if you just get a bunch of tattoos, you'll look intimidating and, it'll...
When I first became a massage therapist, as this tiny little thing, I didn't have any visible tattoos, and then I shaved my head, dyed my hair red, and got a sleeve, and I can't get with any of it anymore.
All in a span of 3 months, huh?
It was like COVID shutdown. I was like, there are no rules.
I would walk up to them, shake their hand firmly, make eye contact, smile, and introduce myself. First, it's just how I was raised. It's a respectful and professional thing to do to me, but it all...
Oh, that's not Southern Belle. That's not Southern Belle. She is right. I do think it's important to establish, that you are the therapist, in the situation. Mm-hmm. You're the authority in the situation. Point to where, to sit, they can be sitting while you're standing. There's so many different nuances with this as well. What's your take on it, Priscilla?
Yeah, I completely agree. And I think if we're not feeling confident, we can fake it until we make it. And one of the ways that we can do that is having scripts available to us. So outlining what that looks like when a client comes in. if a client approaches me this way, how can I respond to that? So I have a more confident way of directing them. And then me being a Jersey girl, I don't have that same shake your hand ethics. It's a little bit different. So I always go into my sessions with a little power stance, like hands in my pockets. Hi, nice to meet you, a little elbow bump. So whatever that little confident power dynamic looks like to you, I think is important. So whether that is reaching across, shaking their hand, making that eye contact, having your little stance, whatever makes you feel comfortable in your own power in that situation is the most important. So you just have to figure out what that looks like for you, more authentic and more comfortable when you approach it.
It's a little we'll wrap up the My Massage World video in a sec.
Also serves the purpose of making it clear who's in control and that you're not just a wallflower. I mean, it helps that I'm 6 feet tall, always kind of through them, but in general, you want to not be overbearing, but still confident and in control from the very first interaction. This can also translate into how you speak and respond in conversation with them. So ask questions clearly and respond to them with clear explanations. So for example, if they say something and you're not quite sure what they said or what they mean by something, ask for clarification. I'm sorry, I didn't catch that. Can you repeat yourself? Or what exactly do you mean by that? Firstly, this can help clear up any misunderstandings or awkward situations where they misspoke, where you might misinterpret something, or it can call them out and make them be very clear about their intentions, so you can be very clear on your following actions.
Clarifying questions are so important. What did you mean by that? Or I don't understand. Like asking that definitely can clear up. I myself have been in situations where I asked clarifying because I thought it was inappropriate, and then they explained themselves, and then we just had a good laugh about it afterwards because it was awkward. Or if they are being inappropriate, and when you just ask for that little, hey, I'm clocking that, that's not okay, and you put them on the spot to explain themselves, most of the time they back off. Or you could put yourself in a situation where you can now terminate this session because you know their intentions are not ideal for therapeutic relationship and it's time to go.
Yes, there is a wonderful guy that I follow on socials, Jefferson Fisher. He's an attorney located here in Texas, and his scripts are amazing. But he says exactly what Savannah just said, but then he'll say he helps you with confronting really sticky situations and good verbiage. Being a litigation trial attorney, you have to be very meticulous with your questions, and you have to know how to set the stage. And he'll say stuff like, "What makes you think you're entitled to that?" Or can you repeat yourself? Or what did you intend by saying that? Yeah, what are your intentions? Or can you clarify your expectations? Or it sounds like you're beating around the bush. Can you be crystal clear for me?
What are you asking me?
Yeah, or can you explain to me how this is funny? I don't see the humor in it.
That part with the happy ending jokes, that one's my favorite. I don't get it. Can you explain this to me?
Right, that's what this whole series is about, all the happy ending jokes. This one, lastly, should you report it to the police? I have my own opinions about it, so we'll see what Savannah thinks.
And lastly, should you report it to the police? So if a guy makes an inappropriate request, should you immediately go file a report with your local police department? This is up for debate. And let me first say that every situation is different, so there's never a blanket yes or no answer here. However, I think it's important to make a clear distinction. There are two categories these types of people can be placed in. On the one hand, you have the guys who honestly are just looking to get off.
These are guys that should be on Tinder instead, but still they're still creepy. We still have to deal with them.
Yeah, but also don't go on Tinder being creepy to strangers.
Yeah. Thank you for sure.
For lack of a better term. On the other hand, you have guys who are threatening, forceful, aggressive, or flat out violent, or at least greatly seem to be capable of it.
So we're going to get into that in just a second because there's a screenshot that I need to share with you guys from a couple of colleagues that got really threatening messages, and this shit is scary. So it's like, should you report it to the police? My opinion, yeah, especially stuff like that, because you're creating a track record, and whenever you create a track record, you are helping to ensure that somebody else possibly, could be prevented from being assaulted, or it's doing a little bit of damage control ahead of time. It's letting, especially with this current climate, these people need to be called out. Like, there's predatory behavior, and whenever you're telling your therapist that you want to break into their office and rape them.
Yeah,
of course,
that screenshot was
report.
wild. I am torn on this topic. I think that Savannah broke the two instances up really well. I agree that there's no right and wrong answer here. I would like to see people report it so there is a track record, but I also understand that there is a certain level of trauma and uncomfortableness when it comes to the police and that position of authority as well. And then also our system in general hasn't shown itself to be very helpful to victims in these situations. So I understand why people would be hesitant to report. But again, there's no wrong answer here. If you would like to see it reported, but I also offer empathy to those that decide not to for whatever personal reasons.
Yeah, and there's been some scary situations, and we're not trying to fearmonger. We're trying to empower and educate you to understand. And also, one of my biggest pet peeves with this whole topic too is therapists that are their fawning response of, I'll just I know a therapist, he's a guy, call this person. And it's like, you think you're just kind of getting him off your back. No, you're putting your colleague at risk, and you're falling into a fawning trap, and you're people pleasing. And that's not to, like, victim blame or anything. I'm not a psychologist, but I read enough self-help books.
I talk about referrals and referral networking in my course as well. Two things. One, if this client is just legitimately problematic and seeking solicitation services, don't refer them to anybody. File the report, don't file the report, but don't refer them. When it comes to referral, our boundaries might be completely different. So something that I might find inappropriate, like something as simple as being called a pet name like Babe or Hun, where I'm like, I don't want that in my treatment space. Somebody that's fine. Their culture uses these pet names all the time. That's like endearing to them. They might have a different perspective on that. So I would refer a client to them. It's just understanding who you're referring to and what their comfort is. Because again, our boundaries are different. I might view this as a red flag, but this is their ideal client, or they might view it as a red flag, but it's my ideal client. So there's an ethical referral. But if it's just like, hey, this person is might be asking me for a happy ending, but I can't tell, don't refer those clients. I would like to start by saying this one in the top right corner, this starting with Stacy, this one should absolutely be reported because this is an insane.
It's a colleague of mine in Texas, and she's a mobile therapist too. And she filed a police report. This woman does not fuck around. She does not fuck around.
Coming out strong with the B word and then threatening to break in and R you is insane behavior, and that person should not be able to walk among us.
She also works from home as well, I believe. So she's a mobile therapist. She doesn't have an office. I don't know where they would like break in unless he knew where she lived. That's scary. So these are some real examples of stuff that we see every single day in our Facebook group. And this is it's my God, that it's every single day. It's overwhelming that this is such a huge problem that I felt compelled to take hours and hours of my life and Priscilla's life. I mean, this is her, but to go over this stuff because this is fucking insane what we have to deal with. So we can do the one underneath Stacy's so I don't lose track. The other therapist says, what service are you interested in? The guy texts, I can't, really, really horny. First of all, what type of fucking like English is that? Okay, so when I get massage, Jesus, I don't know why okay, let's go to the therapist response. There should not have been a response. There should have just been a block. But so oh no, her response is good. So are the who now have your number, solicitation is illegal. You hereby are banned from our establishment. Any further communication is a violation and treat it as both trespassing and harassment. This is very similar to the type of stuff that I'll send people just to kind of like scare them.
Or just even if you don't report, but adding a little case number to make it extra scary for them is just fun. But normally with these, I don't usually respond to text messages and stuff outside of referring everybody to my online booking. I know not all of us have online booking, so that's a privilege that I have. But texts like this, I usually just block immediately. Like the Stacy, I need a massage would have been blocked right then and there. I don't know what this was before the service, but the really, really horny would have just been blocked.
Yeah, and this one, I'm going to save the middle one for a little bit, but okay, the therapist says, let me know if you have any questions. The creep says, lovely, I hear you.
Mhm.
Have any extras? Let me be candid, question mark. Please explain what you mean by extra. So this is an example of a clarifying statement. And the guys are gaslighting, beating around the bush because they're too much of a pussy to like just come out and say it. Oh no, he said it. Come on.
No, he said it. No, he said it. He said it.
I hear it's called a happy ending. You should know what I'm talking about. You should know, like, duh. If not, it's fine. No offense. Oh, no offense. Oh,
No,
this is
I'm just gonna be super offensive, but please don't take offense to it. The not giving happy endings, only giving sad endings will always make me laugh out loud. I just think it's such a funny response when you're just in the mood to be petty. But again, with a text message like this, as soon as I hear extras, I'm red flagged and that's blocked. And then let me be candid, again, red flag. Extras, wanted to be candid, that I don't need any clarifying information. I know exactly what this person wants, and I'm not going to give them any more emotional labor. That's an immediate block for me.
There's a video that I saw of it was a spoof video, but it was somebody soliciting for prostitution. And he says, do you do happy endings or something? And she says, no, only, or yeah, I could tell you what your parent or what you wish your parents would have told you or something. And she
it was like something about sad endings, and it was like packages. One of the packages was like, I'm going to read all these text messages to your mother while I string my guitar at you or something. I just like the pettiness of it.
I do get a little petty sometimes. So speaking of petty, while we're still on this screenshot right here on the left, the therapist said, I don't provide happy endings, only sad endings, where I give the police your info and attempting to solicit licensed professionals to let them know you work at the XYZ in Colorado. Have the day you deserve. And then my favorite, I personally love the flip off emoji. That's my favorite emojis. So this actually, like, since we're on it, I forgot this was this particular situation, but I actually contacted the school as well. And I called them out on social media. Long story short, the director of the school and I had like a 33-minute conversation, and she told me because I asked her, what are the protocols set in place for whenever an employee at a middle school gets against him or something happens or is acting in an unsavory way, like outside of school, what's going on? And long story short, she basically told me that, they had to revamp a lot of their protocols and hire trainers to come in and like talk about implicit bias and sexual harassment, not towards the students this time, but towards the teachers, and understanding like what grooming looks like in gaslighting. They had whole seminars on it. So she went above and beyond to educate, her staff members. And I thought that was commemorable because, a couple of weeks ago, I would send, another company like at a tech firm or whatever, same thing. And they're like, we don't care what our employees do.
Yeah, I'm glad that they responded in that way. I'm also really glad that they have a solid code of ethics in place, especially when we're talking about somebody that's working with our youth and young and impressionable individuals. Their code of ethics should be solid. There shouldn't be any gray area where they think it's okay to go out in society and harass a service worker. So I'm glad that they took your complaint seriously and then immediately started retraining their staff on their code of ethics.
Yeah. And she
Love
told
them
me
for that.
She told me she took it seriously because she has a daughter who just went through something very similar, and she knows how to spotlight the gaslighting, called him out right away on his lies, said, this is photoshopped. That's one of the common ones.
Yeah. Okay.
This is photoshopped. I didn't do this. So this last one, y'all, this is scary. Another scary one. And it got a lot of really positive feedback from the community. And, I could always go through and read comments on a different time, the community support, but this is scary. A member of Babs writes, I was essayed, and I can't use the full terminology on YouTube your video, but I was essayed after a treatment as her as the therapist. Here's the situation. My regular client of over a year is usually super polite and respectful. Okay, that's how they usually start. He's a hugger and usually gives a quick hug before he heads out the door. Okay, that's grooming. This time was different, and he started crying and he hugged me. So I let the hug linger since he was falling on my shoulder, and I figured there must be something going on in his life, or he was just having an emotional release. My God, what a fucking awkward moment. I'm sure she felt so caught off guard, obviously.
I would have as well.
Okay, so all this is definitely a lot of grooming, and then he did over a series of different appointments, and then he's progressively like trying to get more physical and using emotional vulnerability as an excuse to touch. So unfortunately, here's the rest of this story. I tried to pull back from the hug after a minute or so, and he wouldn't let me go. Ultimately, he leaned in for a kiss and pulled back, but he pulled my body closer and leaned forward and forcibly started making out with me. I tried to pull away and tell him enough, but he continued. I started punching him in the head, and he finally stopped. I was so mad, I continued to punch him in the head a few more times, and he said, "Oh shit, what have I done? I won't come back." He left right away crying. I'm feeling so done with people and massage just done. So this therapist literally wants to quit her job and leave the career, leave this amazing career because of this, this horrific, like this shit is scary.
That's horrifying to be in that situation. And then for him to use the emotional manipulation of crying and be like, what have I done? No, you know what you've done. You were there when you did it. There was no apology with that. There's what have I done? And then cry off like you're the victim here of your own actions.
He had it planned already. He had it planned from the first appointment.
Because there was a ton of grooming that I know for me personally, I'm not a huge hugger, so that's not a thing that I like in my space. I do have clients that I have vetted, even though with vetted clients with grooming, some can slip through the crack, but I only offer hugs to clients that have been established with me for a while. And if they are having an emotional release or there's something happening, I'll ask them, would you like a hug? But again, that hug is on my terms and it ends when I'm ready for it to end. That's a boundary. Not blaming this therapist at all, for the record. Even if this therapist is a hugger and hugs all of their clients, there was no reason for that to happen. That person is a scumbag.
And it definitely was reported for sure. And I can do a follow-up once I find that post on what happened to this person, because I believe there was a resolution to it. I'm not quite sure. And, then it begs the question, like, what do we do? Keep knives in our boots, guns under our tables? Like, Jesus Christ, machetes in our linen closet? Like, this is scary. Layers of protection we have to go through. Not that men don't, because men are obviously like they deal with this as well, but that's a different topic. Priscilla, I
was just going to reference one of the articles that I wrote for Massage Magazine on this topic. It references personal alarm systems. There's various ones. One you can either have on your person or you can put under the table, but when you press it, it'll immediately go to your local law enforcement if that's something that you would like to have in your treatment room. And then there's other things in that article about recognizing the red flags and what to do to get out of a situation that you might feel not safe in, how to reasonably excuse yourself without them knowing, and then finding a safe space while you call or have them removed from the building. So that's a great reference. And I'm sure Rebecca will put it up on the screen or QR or something.
Yeah, we'll put she has a couple of articles that she's written about this, so we'll link everything below as well. The QR code is to her shop and CE courses and downloadables and stuff. Lots of really great info there, especially if your brain is fried like mine. Just need a little bit of help from somebody who's way more eloquent and doesn't say much.
Well, that took me a long time. Again, come from Jersey, it's like in my default setting.
I just edit it out later.
That middle finger emoji, I was like, that's a term of endearment here. I wouldn't have used it in that setting. No, but in my articles, I don't remember which one it is, but it's a 3-part series. So there's 3 articles for safety and solicitation. One of them goes over another topic that comes up all the time, and that's erections and what to do and how to recognize if this is just a natural, spontaneous response that can happen, and we should never shame our clients for it happen. And how to recognize if this is a predatory response from said client and what to do in the situation from there. So it's a great resource to have. I recommend reading these articles.
Yes, and we'll definitely link everything. So here's another post from my colleague. And so this particular situation, this client ended up, my friend says the police called me and said this phone number has been linked to 6 different reports in different states. Like, this is fucking crazy that the FBI is involved with this, but this is the type of shit she had to deal with this week. Is
About, we say, creating a record.
Yep.
This is over several states.
So, Priscilla, I can be the creep if you if you want to be if you want to read kind of back.
Let's do it.
Hey, Michelle, I need a massage.
Hello, who is this?
I'm Luis. Nice to meet you.
Who referred you to me? Where are you located?
Yelp. That's another red flag. God.
Yelp.
Anything with Yelp is a red flag, no matter what, not just creeps. Anyways, Yelp in Lake Worth, near the beach. Probably a bougie area. Here we go.
What type of massage are you looking for? What days and times work best for you? I can check my schedule and let you know what's available. If you're okay with a male therapist, my husband has been a therapist for 30 years and has an opening this evening. I won't have anything available until Thursday.
Too many qualifying questions. I'll wait for Thursday. Sports, deep tissue. And
any injuries or surgeries I should be aware of? Thursday I can do 11:45 a.m., Friday 11:15 a.m., or 2:30 p.m. I'll need your full name, address, and email address to send over an intake form for you to complete.
Okay, 11:45 a.m., but no pain in the glutes going down the legs. No, okay. I'm gonna.
Okay.
So
I was like, well, that's not it. Oh, there it is.
YouTube algorithm. I'm not gonna repeat these words, but basically it's really vile, and he's basically saying that he's gonna whack off and cause physical violent harm to her. So yeah, this shit is scary. I know we were kind of having a little fun with the dialogue back and forth. I can only sound like me, which hopefully doesn't sound like a creep like this person. But like, this shit is so scary. And people in the comments are just like, just completely flabbergasted. The escalation of the verbal.
And it was so out of nowhere. And he just throws the R word out there when she's just booking an appointment. I do want to say that this therapist clearly did not do anything wrong at all. Asked all the questions that they needed to ask. What's going on? Do you have any pain? Giving availability. They did everything correct. For me, this again would have been a client that I would have blocked after that very first sentence for just, hey, I need a massage. Those no context, abrupt are always a red flag for me. And I don't even want to know what's at the end of that yellow brick road in this communication. Am I missing out on some awesome clients that could be regulars for me for a life? I might be. Is that something I'm willing to risk? Yes. But that's me.
Yep, man, this is getting fun. I have 2 things to go over as well. There's the Respect Massage. She did a great YouTube video, so we'll go over that one. It's a little bit shorter than Savannah's. And then there's a post that was in the group that I would like to go over, and this is a little bit different type of grooming and involves a client who is basically trying to groom the therapist by playing like really romantic love music, and then everybody justifying and being like, oh, give him benefit of the doubt. Absolutely fucking not. No. Like, I am not about to be massaging the R. Kelly or whatever. Hell nah.
No. And then when we talk about those power dynamics, how the default power dynamic is in our favor. The second we start allowing that romantic music, those like weird and inappropriate things, especially in an industry where we're hypersexualized, that power dynamic is now in the favor of that client. And when things starts to happen negatively, it's harder to get ourselves out of it. So cutting that before it even starts. No. If you would, I don't mind clients listening to their own music, but it needs to be appropriate. And love songs, not appropriate.
Nah, sounds like that client probably needs Metallica or something in the background. And it's so true about those power dynamics, because as a therapist, as a woman, I dislike making people uncomfortable or having to be confrontational or having to set a boundary or fear of somebody may not like me or something. We need to get over that, because we need to establish our authority as professionals, but also if you give an inch, they will take a mile. They will.
Absolutely will. And coming from somebody that's confrontational, I understand that it's not simple. It's not easy. It's not fun. And not everybody, A, wants to, or B, can. That's fine. There are ways to terminate a client. There are ways to communicate that work for you. So if that's an email or a text message or something, you are away from this client, they are no longer directly in your face, the session is over, it has been processed, and you want to reach out after the fact in a medium that makes more sense to you, that makes you more comfortable to avoid that confrontation, and then block them, more power to you. This is all about what works best for you in your practice and your career, and how you are going to feel fulfilled and safe. And if that is just blocking somebody after a text message saying that I can no longer work with you, period, that's fine.
Right. You're not asking their permission. You're telling them.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of really great verbiage and scripts in the group about basically how to fire a client, tell them fuck off, or don't want to with them anymore. So don't be afraid to set those. And it's good to have verbiage in place in form of SOPs, standard operating procedures as well, just in case.
Yes. I have several scripts in my workbook as well for terminating a client or letting them know that they just make you uncomfortable.
Yes, and y'all can, the QR code here, y'all can scan it and you'll see all the resources online. And we'll go ahead and get into this other one. So we'll do another Facebook post and then we'll end with the video with Joyce, again with Respect Massage. Make sure y'all can see the screen. Okay, cool. So this one right here, this is the love music playlist thing. We'll read the situation, the text messages in a second, but she did put an update. I texted him the day of his appointment to have music with no vocals. And while he said just to play regular music, I feel like he told on himself. He figured he was my last client. No one else was there. So why shouldn't I be unprofessional? That's not his. He does not get to determine the professionalism of the therapist or not.
No. Or anything that happens when you're the last client. That doesn't mean that I can go over. That doesn't mean I can extend your session. You being the last client does not change the terms and conditions of this session.
Right, so this situation's a little weird.
I think the last time you were here, you brought in your own music. If you're doing that today, please have a playlist that is instrumental or piano versions only. It allows for a more professional/relaxing environment. I have many options for music playlists here too that you could that you could select via Spotify.
Girl, this client would have had damn earphones on if he was in my office. Like, no, thank you. I didn't realize it was an issue, but I won't bring my own music anymore. I thought that by 6 p.m. there were no other appointments.
Yeah. We share the building, and Redacted is upstairs and on the same level with us. Their hours vary, and I sometimes have a 30-minute appointment after what would normally be the last appointment of the day.
I won't bring any music. Okay, so this therapist is justifying, like, oh my God, this client is getting all the information to know basically like when she's going to be alone.
Yeah, what their hours are. Sometimes you're after. Oh, this continues.
This is the last, I think, or one more maybe.
Okay, just let me know your music preference and I can find some instrumental massage music for you. I do have piano covers for 80 songs or lo-fi massage music along with many other options.
No, that's okay. Whatever you play will suffice.
Okay, see you soon.
This is a bit borderline, and I do like talking about the borderline topics too, because it can go either way, and there's just so many like different red flags and stuff. What was your take on this particular post?
The first thing that really stood out to me, besides the music choice, but I already gave my opinion on that. What stood out to me the most was the over explanation on the massage therapist part. We don't owe clients that. And again, just because they're our last appointment of the day, that doesn't change the terms and conditions of our appointment. Everything is still the way it would go no matter where you fall in my day. Just because you're the last appointment of the day, that doesn't mean that we don't have other stuff to do there. That doesn't mean that you have stuff to do after, you have to get to. Like you mentioned, now they know when you may or may not be alone because you may or may not be taking another client. The other building is upstairs, what their hours are. There's just a lot of over explanation when I think the boundary could have just been as simple as that one sentence. You can choose your own music, but it needs to be instrumental, period. End of story.
Yeah, and that's how they test the waters. It's called, and I'll get more into rhetorical patterns later. I'm working on hopefully finding a language expert who can come in and help with this stuff and explain it to y'all like the super smart way, so that people with PhDs can talk about these types of rhetorical patterns, but this is called like test and apologize. They're poking and seeing what you're going to respond or react to.
And that's how grooming works. That's exactly what a groomer would do. They press that boundary just a little bit more each time until they know that you're no longer going to be compatible with it. And then when we talk about boundaries, I myself have been accused that sometimes my boundaries can be a bit too rigid, because mine would have simply been, you can choose your own music, but it needs to be instrumental, period. And then I wouldn't have had a conversation about it at all. I probably would have just stopped responding. But I think that there's a time and place for those rigid boundaries, while also being more flexible with other boundaries for certain clients.
You can kind of tell tone of voice and stuff. And in this case, I feel like that client intentions was to maybe try and like court her or ask her out. It's not appropriate.
Yeah.
Speaking of more inappropriate things.
Happy endings. The way that he kept saying, I thought this was your last appointment, makes me feel like he was trying to get to this topic in particular.
Then the guilt tripping that some of these clients will try and put you through, like, well, I guess, you don't want me as a client anymore or something. They'll start saying shit like that. And you're like, what is this, like high school dating? Like, what
the guilt trip is another termination for me. I don't like it. I don't have time for it. Life's already really hard. I don't want to do this in my personal space. If you start guilt tripping me over a boundary, then I am no longer the therapist for you.
I'll straight up ask people if they're attempting to gaslight or guilt trip me. One of our other colleagues, we're obviously all on the same page with a lot of different backgrounds and experiences. By the way, Joyce used to work on, or I think she still might do this lifestyle, but she's a total sailboat girl, and she's been to a lot of different countries and has a lot of different perspectives outside of just being in the US as well. So
I think that's how I originally found her on YouTube, was her sailboat videos with massage specifically, and then she started doing more of the Respect Massage content.
So before we start this video too, while we're on it real quick, definitely put the Respect Massage logo on your socials and websites and everything. But also, it's really important on your website underneath your policies to be very careful with your verbiage, because it can come up with some like crazy SEO stuff. So if you put verbiage like no sexual or sexual misconduct, well, Google's going to pick up the word sexual and massage because it's on the same page. So be very careful with the type of language that we are using, because Google doesn't know the difference.
I put on mine that I have a zero tolerance policy for harassment of any kind, and then what would happen after that. So whether that's termination or the forfeit of a prepaid or the forfeit of a package or a gift card, whatever that, but harassment of any kind, I feel like leaves it more up for interpretation to me and my therapist on what we're viewing that harassment to be. And then also keeps us out of that SEO for accidentally flagging a happy ending word.
Yes. Well, speaking of, while we're on the topic, I hate laughing about this too in these videos sometimes, because part of me is like, oh, shit, are people going to think that I'm not taking this serious?
I know, but I've been deep in this conversation for years now. Not only have I experienced my own harassment, solicitation, and trauma and assault, but if I don't laugh, I'm going to lose it. I'm sorry. Just get on my face. That's all I know.
Let's have at it. Spot clients who want happy endings. Respect Massage. Also, Joyce teaches a course, which we'll put in the links below too, with everything else for the ABNP, American Bodywork Massage Professionals. So definitely check that out too.
Search for a post I was going to make, and I wanted to see how many female massage therapists there were in the US compared to the number of males. And something that came up in my search was how to ask for a happy ending.
My God, my YouTube algorithm's going to be so fucked for the next week or so.
Yeah, you're down that dark algorithm. Hopefully it fixes itself.
Let's see what Joyce's algorithm came up with.
It seemed like an odd topic to come up in what I was searching, but it made me realize that this is a commonly searched question. So I went down the rabbit hole and started digging. I'm sharing my findings with you so you know what the internet is telling solicitors to ask, how to behave, and what to look for in a business so they can get a happy ending. I needed to make a video about my findings because I'm not going to suggest in any way, shape, or form that you search this topic. I'm not going to lie. It was a little traumatizing, and I really hate that how to get a happy ending is now in my search history. But there's certain things that I have found that are also very alarming to me as a massage therapist and as the founder of Respect Massage. So the first major point I want to make is that in these blog posts, articles, and forums, that I was looking through about how to ask for a happy ending massage is they're always suggesting that people are super vague when booking and when they arrive to their appointment. It's illegal to...
Yeah, vague, one word, short, curt answers. Massage today, question mark, not, hi, my name is Michael and I was referred by Michael. Yeah. I don't know, there's a lot of people named Michael.
The massage question mark one, no.
Oh my God, right.
Solicit sex in the US, and they just can't come out and ask. So they suggest that you act real cool and confident and it'll just happen. So keep this in mind, because what I'm going to tell you in this video, what not to do, what's going to make your business look like a massage parlor, but also keep in mind that these are actions that you can take to make it abundantly clear that you are not operating as a massage parlor.
And we're not victim blaming or shaming anybody. We're literally telling you why some of these things could be happening and what to look out for.
Yeah. We're talking about being proactive, and if you are having an influx of these solicitors, just kind of doing a quick check about what you have going on your website, the images you have going on, and then if you have any of these things that Joyce is about to call out, if any of those are in your business, you might just want to rethink how you're advertising or displaying certain things so you don't come across a creepy person's phone.
And I'm sure she'll get into some of the things I might mention, so I'll wait for... This is my first time watching this video, so it's all new to me.
Actions will...
Yes, I know. I want to hear more about her class, but I'm sure it was very inspirational and vice versa. We need to learn these communication patterns and skills and stuff, because this shit is not funny. And, you know, the things that we do, whether we choose to report somebody, whether we are making a silly YouTube video for our community to let them know they're not alone, and there are things that you can do to prevent these things from happening and what to do if they happen. There's so many things that we can do to bring awareness around these topics and situation, because it sucks that is there's going to be therapists who say, oh, I've never gotten, that's great for you, I'm happy, I hope you never do, but unfortunately it is inevitable for a lot of us, and it's an unfortunate part of being in this.
Argue that's never happened to me isn't exactly true, because they may have been solicited, they may have had inappropriate clients, they may have had some grooming happening to them. However, it may not have crossed their particular boundary, but that doesn't mean that wasn't problematic behavior that person was doing.
And yeah, I'm sure Joyce is about...
Stop solicitors. Have a really solid intake process. Be very clear about what your expectations are for the massage. Doing things like starting each new client face up. Look at it this way. Happy endings are called happy endings for a reason. They are at the end of the massage. So if a happy ending is going to happen, the client would have to end face up. So other things that came up in these articles that I was looking through were that solicitors were told to look for a neon open sign. So if you own a legitimate massage practice and you have a neon sign,
How did we miss the neon signs? I want to see like different people's perspectives, from educators to people who are receiving these messages, to people who are busing these places, to people who bought a class pass and ended up in a Thai massage parlor and didn't know it was trafficking until, you know, she saw a peephole through the door. Joyce was right about the intake. Of course, we cannot clarify that enough. That's very, very important. So let's hear the rest of the ways to weed people out.
highly recommend getting rid of it. My research also mentioned late hours. They suggest that massage places that have late hours available are happy ending parlors. I understand that we have regulars that have odd schedules sometimes. Accommodate them if it's within your boundaries. However, do not advertise late hours publicly to new clients. You could be attracting a clientele you do not want. The same goes for responding to clients outside of your business hours. If a new client reaches out to you during late night hours, wait until business hours to respond.
Oh, this is so important. I see this all the time, Priscilla. Like, setting boundaries, respond within business hours. Somebody's emergency is not, or somebody's lack of planning is not your emergency, especially if they're asking for illegal shit.
And then when we do respond late night, if we get like a text message at 10 p.m. or midnight and we're responding to it, we immediately change that power dynamic back to their favor, to the solicitor's favor, where they think that our boundaries are a little bit laxed and they can get away with being inappropriate. They can get away with asking this, because why else would we respond in their head this late at night?
Right. I mean, I'm asleep by then. Like, I am not texting anybody past 9:30.
I have crazy insomnia, so I'm up and I saw it and I am ignoring you.
It's true, though. We need to set boundaries around our time, and that is included with our online activity. And you know, how much time I spend doing XYZ. Like, if we don't set these boundaries, we're inviting more of what we don't want to keep happening. So instead of being avoidant, we're trying to be proactive.
Yeah. Plus, we're going to burn ourselves out. If we allow everybody access to us the second they want access to us, we're not going to make it long term. We're just going to burn ourselves right out.
And on another note, I particularly like where I stopped this video because Joyce has the Cardi B vibe going on right now with the
Basements came up as well. Bringing clients down into a basement was listed.
Okay, I'm sorry to stop it again so soon, but bringing clients down to a basement. Have you seen Dolores Roach on, I think it's on Amazon Prime. It's about a lady who's a massage therapist and she ends up in a Sweeney Todd situation.
I saw the previews. I haven't watched the series.
It's the wildest shit. It's so funny. It's one of those kind of dark comedy horrors. Like, it's not meant to be taken seriously. It's really entertaining and funny. I would actually highly recommend watching it. I'd love to have a watch party for it.
Yes.
So in the show, right, you'll see if you look up the trailer for Dolores Roach, you'll see that in the trailer, she is not a licensed therapist because she just got out of jail because, you know, you can't be a legit therapist with all the background checks if you have a criminal history most states anyways. So she turns into Miss Magic Hands. Yeah, a client starts getting handsy with her and she's like, oh, hell no. And then ends up choking him and he dies. And she's like, oh, shit, what am I supposed to do? And the restaurant owner who's obsessed with her, like, they come up with the new menu. I'll just leave it at that.
Oh.
Start catching on. I cannot wait for season 2.
I have to look into it. But on the basement note, there is a local practice near me who converted their basement into a home spa. It is very tasteful. It is very well done. Their marketing is on point. So I do think while the basement setting can be a red flag in a lot of instances it can be
with the neon signs.
Yeah, it can be done very tastefully to help pull your business out of this conversation. Just because you're working out of a basement doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be flagged by these solicitors if it's done tastefully.
I live in the South. I'm in Louisiana and Texas. I don't know what a basement is. We don't have
North Carolina, they were like, nowhere either. But now that I'm home, I'm so happy to have my basements back.
On the internet as a place where the real freaky stuff happens. So if you have a studio, a practice, or an office that's in a basement, that could be a signal to someone that is looking for a happy ending that your establishment is a place where that's going to happen.
Unless it's a tasteful basement.
One of the articles that I read suggested that if you're going to a happy ending parlor, and there's typically not a lot of people on staff. So if you're going to a business looking for a happy ending, they'll tell you to come back in 10 minutes if the masseuse is busy. There are 2 things on here that I would like to point out. One, it's that the internet is telling people that massage businesses that only have one person on staff is a parlor. And this is very concerning to me because a lot of us massage therapists work alone. Secondly, the article suggested that if there is a massage place and there's a lot of men lingering out front because they're waiting for their turn, that would be a happy ending parlor. Now, let's say your massage office is next to a gym and there's a lot of men lingering out front. That's very possible. So keep in mind when you're searching for locations for your business, you don't want it to be a place where there are a lot of men out front. Okay, here's another one. Bad female Yelp reviews. Parlors.
Oh God, I wasn't expecting Yelp to come up, but that's a whole other episode with their extortion and stuff.
Yeah, I do also check Google reviews, and I think that there is a pattern when all of the 5 stars are from men specifically and there aren't any female reviews or they're very negative about the work that they've received. But I also, the internet is telling these creeps what to look for, but that doesn't necessarily mean this is the end all be all list. Like, just because you might work outside of a gym and there's men lingering, or you have a tasteful practice in a basement, or you just unfortunately have these reviews that just look this way, that doesn't mean that you deserve to be harassed and solicited.
Exactly. And we're trying to teach y'all how to respond to these situations when they do arise. Do it from a place of empowerment, but also don't let it like ruin your whole day and eat away at you either. We gotta move on with our day. And if we're in an unfortunate situation where we do need to go file a police report, go do it. Vent about it if you need to, but don't let this scare you either into being afraid to take new clients and learning how to vet people and structuring your sessions and your website, every opportunity is a chance to keep refining and getting better and better and better, unless you put your business on Yelp. So I guess we're about to jump.
Also, with the file or police report, some
will have a lot of
counties will let you do it online. I'm sorry. But the police stations will allow you to file a report online. So if you have anxiety or you're just uncomfortable, I would check with your county to see if that is an option for you to file your complaint online.
That is a good tip. I wasn't aware of that.
Bad female online reviews because, according to the articles I read, these establishments don't really want females to come in. To look legitimate, they're going to allow females to make appointments, but since they really only want male clients, they'll give the female clients really bad massages, which in result will be negative reviews from female clients. It was also suggested that when looking for a happy ending, you lie on the table face down naked with no sheets or anything. There is a very simple way to protect yourself from this behavior. Have a clear process that will make it easy for you to end the massage if someone does not follow your instructions about draping. So if you make sure during the intake process, you're being very clear with your client about undressing to their level of comfort and tell them to get in between the sheets, pull the sheets back to demonstrate. I know we're all doing this, but it's really important that you make sure it's really clear and your client is getting it. Get a clear yes from them that they understand your instructions. So,
dude, I will straight up show people a fucking picture on how to lay on the table if they're not clear. Like, I make it a stupid proof, but the draping is definitely a huge boundary thing. Even if you are in a state that does allow for like really scantily clad draping, you know, you're allowed to have your own comfort level too. You have to look for other signs as well. The draping thing, oh my God, that's probably like one of the most common things we see with clients pushing boundaries and testing is the draping.
I'm so animated with mine. I pick up the top sheet and I flick it like you're making the bed. And I'm like, you're going to go under this. Just so animated. And even then, sometimes they're either just super excited or they've never had a massage or they're just like not processing. So sometimes they'll still lay on top. And if I walk in, just immediate turnaround under the drape and just shut the door behind me.
Yeah.
But the clients that are like, do I need a sheet? We don't need a sheet. I run hot. Can I just use a towel? Red flags.
I mean, I'm in Texas, and where I work upstairs at the top floor of a hotel, it is very hot up there. But still, you know, luckily we don't have weirdos like that. I find that most of this is happening with solo therapists as opposed to people who do work in this kind of stuff hasn't happened to me in a while, thank God. Apart from that weird text earlier, the one word text, massage available at a hotel spa. You know, they do all the marketing, they have all the systems in place. I don't have to worry about that. I'm so glad I don't have to do that emotional labor anymore.
Yeah, it's exhausting.
Good.
You walk in and the client is not in between the sheets. If the client is naked on top of your blankets and sheets, that's the end of the massage, period. End of story. Close the door and say, through the door, we're done. If you were clear with your instructions and got a verbal confirmation that the client knew what was expected of them, and they still choose to be naked on top of the blankets, it does not get any more clear than that what they're looking for. It is a perfect example of a situation where you end the massage immediately and get out.
Yep. So this kind of happened to me the one time I was solicited, like not via text, but inside my treatment room. It was one of those things where they got a 4-pack. And I'm like, yay, I have a good client. They bought a 4-pack. They love my services. Of course, the third massage, you know, they start trying to expose themselves. And I grabbed their clothes and I ran out the room. And I literally said, if you don't, like, it was a cash client that could, or, you know, that we all like cash, but that sometimes is like a red flag combined with other things too. Cash payment. But anyways, and then he put the cash under the door and I sent him the tip. Anyways, he put more money under the door and I was fuming. So I threw the clothes back at him and I basically say, get the fuck out of my office before I go file a, you know, police report. This stuff is scary, but I was about to throw this man's clothes on the busiest intersection in town. And, you know, I have no shame about doing that.
I mean, this is a judgment-free space. I love the pettiness. I think it's funny. And if you didn't want your clothes thrown on the highway, you shouldn't have sexually harassed somebody. I don't know what to tell you.
Right? Like, I'm not a petty person, but when it comes to this type of shit, I will be petty. If you're saying stuff like, open the door, bitch, I'm gonna rape you. Of course I'm gonna put that on social media and tag your boss and mother and like
And
look
you-
you up and all this stuff. Like if you don't want to be doing illegal shit or embarrassed or whatever, like don't be asking for illegal shit from places you shouldn't be looking for it for. There's
rule of thumb is if you're going to be embarrassed that what you did or said goes public, maybe don't do or say those things. It's a pretty basic way to live your life.
right. Have integrity. What would your mother think of you? What would your mother? I know we have so many like screenshots and videos and stuff to go over. I do want to, not today, but we'll get into some of the responses from the groups on some of these posts because there was some really good verbiage and dialogue. Unfortunately, my computer or Butterfingers erased everything before we hit record, so I lost a lot of my reference material. But this is the most organized I've ever been. This is one other thing I pulled up as well is it's kind of hard to read on the screens. Most states will have like on, I can't enlarge it for some reason. But most states will have on the website like human trafficking resources and stuff to display in your office as well. And some red flags. You'll see these in a lot of the gas stations within a certain miles from the interstate. Oh, that's something else to keep in mind, I guess, that I haven't thought of. I mean, my dad's a trucker, so I used to go with him on road trips and stuff all the time. And I see signs like this all the time in bathrooms. But if you own a spa that's really close to a lot of truck stops, that might require you to do a bit more filtering in your business and a bit more structure and weeding out bots on your site and things like that, because just due to the distance that could possibly maybe attract a certain people. And it's not you or your photos or anything.
No fault to you.
You're within 2 mile, whatever from a truck. So also too, I do want to make it clear to our audience that for people inevitably in the comments section of Facebook, YouTube, whatever, they always say, oh, just legalize prostitution. It'll stop trafficking. No, it won't. There's a huge difference. Trafficking is by force, fraud, or coercion. Prostitution is not. We can argue about this all fucking day. And there's nuances to each. And we're not here to argue with people about either one of those or play devil's advocate for predators or, argue about whether we think prostitution should be legalized or not. It's not about that.
And confidently addressing it. I actually teach my class in Australia where sex work is legalized and massage therapy is considered a healthcare profession that is recognized by their national insurance, health insurance. And they deal with solicitation so often that they asked me to teach this class. So I don't think that that's a solution that can really prevent this from happening, which is why I think it's so important for us to be proactive in preventing these situations from coming into our treatment space.
What are some of the other, before we hop off real quick for people who still might be listening, what are some other red flags that you've come across? I know we see these screenshots all day and all the groups online, but from what you've been teaching and your students' feedback, what has their main experience been?
It's the short one-word text. It is the drape negotiations is a very large one. The people that are saying they're just too hot and don't want to drape, or can they just have a towel or a hand towel, or that they come from Europe and they don't do drapes over there, or whatever the reason may be. There's going to be a drape negotiation. We're going to see that a lot. And then there is the boundary pushing in general. It might be something small, like they just continuously last minute cancel, or they're 5-10 minutes late every session, or they're just asking you to change your music. Just those tiny little, every single time there's a little boundary that's being pushed.
Gifts.
It's that grooming. Gifts is a very big one. Doesn't necessarily mean that it is a groomer, but that is something to look out for. I think when we're thinking about grooming and solicitation, the acts are so small that none of them might give a red flag. But if you look at them in totality of your relationship with this client and you're like, okay, well, that may have been something, and then that may have been something, and together collectively it's a red flag, listen to that. Listen to yourself, trust your gut. If you feel like you need to send a screenshot or make a post in a group to get validation from your colleagues, you already know that you should block this person.
Exactly. And some people ask me, why do you let so many of these posts go through? It's because we can go through them and I can categorize them and keep track of them so we can go through them for y'all. There's just so many different nuances. I do want to make sure that the newer therapists, I think some people have amnesia. We've been doing massage for 15, 20, 30 years, some of us, and we forget what it was like to be a baby therapist. I mean, we could be a baby therapist and be 50 years old. We're still a baby therapist. We've never come across this shit before.
Just get so jaded that we're like, that's the other thing that was made me want to do the class was the jadedness. It was like, well, if you don't like that, you're in the wrong industry. No, I went to school, I paid money, I did everything that I needed to do. I love this, and I deserve to not be solicited at work. I refuse to accept that.
God forbid I demand respect for my career in education. Like, I did another segment with a friend of mine, Elise, and we were talking about massage therapy and dating. And she was telling a story about how she went on a date where a guy was just so nonchalant, totally cool about telling her he goes to parlors all the time and what the process is of, because she approached it with curiosity. I probably just would have been like, I'm going to the bathroom, and then just left, but she stayed there and asked questions because she's a curious person. And she was cringing the whole time, and kudos to her for having the audacity to do that, because I would have just like left.
Yeah, I don't even know. I am fortunate to not be in the dating scene, but I don't know even if I wasn't a massage therapist, I don't know if that would be an appropriate conversation that I would feel like having on a date. Like that's already, no, I'm good here.
Thank you. Too, it's like, okay, you could take me out for a latte for like probably more like $10 now. Get to know me a little bit, see if there's chemistry, see if it'll work out, or you can pay me $150 an hour for me to client zone you. And if you don't write me a review, leave me a tip. If you're hairy, like, I don't know, I get to judge you. That sounds horrible when saying it out loud. Baffling.
Yeah. I'm not envious for the dating scene. I'm sorry. I can only imagine.
You can live vicariously through our episodes because we're going to be interviewing a few different people and stuff. It's so much fun doing these series because it is about community, because with the hive mind, we can all come up with better scripts, hear stories, different perspectives, and it's going to be a lot of fun doing it.
Plus, I think a lot of the burnout in our industry is because we do work so solo most of the time. Realizing that we're not alone, even when it's something personal like dating, is just makes the day-to-day just easier.
It does. Well, y'all can live vicariously those episodes. This one's a little bit different. We're gonna kind of keep it mostly on topic here. If you want to submit anything to us for us to review and talk about, we're not just trying to like bench and be like, "Rawr, we hate the world." That's not it. It's the shit is old. We're sick of it. We want
annoying.
The more we set boundaries and set that standard, the more of us are saying no, 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 the less those people are going to get through to other people too. So.
Also, please remember that you are not responsible for how somebody reacts to your boundary.
Yes.
If they're upset, if they are mad, if they are sad, you do not have to internalize that. That is not your responsibility. That is their responsibility to work through. Your responsibility is knowing your boundary and then communicating it. That's it.
Yeah, so everyone just check the comments, check the description. We're going to put all the links to the articles and stuff we mentioned in today's episode. But if you have anything you want us to go over, just let us know. This is fun. We're enjoying doing this. And I think it gives a better nuance to the type of stuff that we're going through and how to approach it.
Grateful that we were able to kind of laugh about a lot of it and make this heavy topic a little fun, despite the fact that this is a very serious situation. But I enjoyed talking to you about it. Thank you.